following episode of our podcast covers a sensitive topic of suicide. We understand that suicide is a deeply distressing and serious matter that can profoundly impact individuals and communities. It is important to note that the views expressed by our guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our podcast or our company. While we strive to provide valuable and informative content, we recognise that discussing topics related to mental health, including suicide, can be triggering or uncomfortable for some listeners. We strongly advise discretion and self-care when engaging with this episode. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of self-harm or suicide, we urge you to seek professional help or contact a helpline in your country. This episode is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical or mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have any concerns about your mental health or someone else's mental health, we encourage you to consult with a qualified healthcare professional. We understand the importance of providing our listeners with a safe and supportive environment. Suppose you feel distressed or overwhelmed during or after listening to this episode. In that case, we encourage you to take the necessary steps to prioritise your well-being, such as speaking with a mental health professional or confiding in a trusted person in your life. Remember, you are not alone and there are people who care and want to help.
Welcome to Pharmacy View podcast, where we provide regular interviews with pharmacists and key people within Australian pharmacy and the associated global industry. In this stream of podcast episodes, we discuss with our guests the full scope of leadership tools that go into building the Pharmacy Leaders Toolbox for team and career success. I am your host, Chantelle Turner, pharmacist, leadership coach, and founder of Turn Pharmacy Leadership. My guest today is proudly brought to you by Shopfront Solutions for all your shelf and digital marketing needs, part of the Arion Technologies Group. Hello, everybody. I am so excited that you are here to listen and get to know our guest today. Her name is Ilwoo Park. She is a community pharmacist. She practices in rural pharmacy as well, which she is incredibly passionate about. And she's an owner. And something else that I've found that she's really interested in is helping to develop our interns and our next generation of pharmacists so they can practice in the best possible way they can. So welcome so much and thank you so much for being here, Ilwoo.
Thank you for having me.
No problems. I am really excited to have you on the podcast because something I really believe is that leadership comes in lots of different forms, and sometimes our path to leadership can be not the one that is stereotypical or people think everyone should take. So I really would love for you to share your story. So on that note of not being a stereotypical story, I believe your path to pharmacy wasn't necessarily a stereotypical one. So can you explain to our audience how you become a pharmacist?
I was a uni student in Korea and couldn't speak in English or couldn't speak in any other language, only in Korea. And then, but like in Korea, I don't know, many other people know, but it's very competitive situation. So when you graduate university, just everybody's so competitive. So you gotta have English, fluent English skills, computer skills, and so on. So a lot of other skills you need, just additional to your uni graduate certificate. But I wasn't really ready, so I need to have a bit of a time to hold the time, before I graduate. So I went to China, but Chinese visa doesn't let you stay there for long term. So I came back to Korea and then did one more year in uni. And then I was a fourth year student. And then I came to Australia as a backpacker. So I did backpacking for 2 years in Australia. And then I went back to Korea and graduated my university. And then that last semester, my dad keep saying to me, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And then I just didn't have any plan. So what am I going to do? But then, and then I got this English test result from Australia, which called IELTS. the reason I did IELTS was because I didn't never heard of it. So I just take the test and then get any mark and then give it to that. It's good mark. That was my plan. But yeah, it must be good enough mark. So it was actually a pharmacy school entry mark. It was an academic IELTS test, overall 7. That's what I got from my first result. Yeah, so I applied all universities like Canada and Australia, and then I got into Australia, and then I graduated UTAS, yeah, and then became pharmacist. So
Fantastic. So what you studied in Korea wasn't pharmacy. So you hadn't done pharmacy over there, but you came over on your holiday for a couple of years, and that's when you got your IELTS and you had something to go back to with your dad. Is that correct?
yeah, so my dad just wanted me to learn some English skill. So that was my excuse to come to Australia backpacking. Yeah, so my dad goes, how can you learn English while you're working? How can you learn English on the farm? You need to go to English institution. But I said, I didn't want to waste money. I just felt like, I want to learn real language. So I learned my English from farm. So my language is quite farmy still. Yeah.
And it might be more relatable maybe in the rural communities that you serve now as well. So
yeah.
I'm curious, why pharmacy? What piqued your interest about pharmacy when you decided to apply to uni?
Every time I talk about this, I'm a bit guilty to talk about because there are so many passionate pharmacists out there, and I wanted to be pharmacist from born or like that. But I didn't really think too much about it. Like in Korea, I did my biology degree. So in Korea, when you finish a biology degree, at the time they had the path to go to like a pharmacy school, medical school, or dentistry schools and like that. And then few of my classmates actually already, went into dentistry and pharmacy and medical school in Korea. So I needed something similar. Yeah, so I wanted to I wanted to become some similar profession. And then, but in Korea, you got to prepare another exam. But in Australia, they said that no, just, you can start straight away. So that was a good option for me. And then, so just because of like a peer pressure, I would say. Yeah. And then I wanted to actually go back to Korea once I finished my degree here. But then I found that you can't go back to Korea, become a pharmacist. If you finish the overseas degree, you have to become qualified pharmacist in that country. Yeah, so I had to do intern and then get all the qualification. And then I was going to go back to Korea, but didn't happen.
Yeah. Okay. So your path to pharmacy seems like it was almost like a series of fortunate events as opposed to a well-curated plan.
Yeah, I didn't know at the time. I just quite floating. I always call myself I'm a floater. And then it really stressed me because I like to have a plan like other people do, but I just I think I wasn't in the place that can make any plan. But then nowadays when I think about it, this is just my life. It just it's rolling. It has a direction itself. Yeah. So
Beautiful.
so it's good.
Beautiful. So you said that at the time after you finished your uni degree, you needed to become a qualified pharmacist. And I guess using your term of rolling, that rolled you through to your intern year. So tell us about your intern experience.
My intern experience. About 7 years after when I finished my intern, I can say it was a good intern experience. However, the first 7 years, and I was very angry about that. My intern experience, I wouldn't wish for anyone else and any other people. So, it was. I was quite suicidal. Yeah. So I really think about quitting all the time. I was hired as an intern, but first 6 months, all I did was at the till and then sweeping the floor, stocking the shelf, and that's all I allowed to do. And then I didn't complain, but when first half is gone, I requested, can I learn some dispensary work because my exam's coming, and other interns apparently do the counseling practices and stuff. Can I learn how to dispense and things like that? And then the real big problem started. Yeah. So first half year, maybe I didn't learn much. I did only just tills and stocking shelf and sweeping the floor, but still it was a good work environment. But when I asked, can you train me as an intern, then the assistants actually had some funny feeling about me. So it started really agony. When the regular pharmacist left, suddenly this assistant just said, I actually don't know how to dispense and how to order anything, but they just left to me with a 75 years old locum in the dispensary. Oh, you are the intern pharmacist and you do it. Yeah, so I actually basically read all that, the dispensing manual. Yeah, I was crying and then read the manual and how to find out how to order. And
Wow. It must have been such a challenging time for you. So did you end up sitting your intern exam at the end of that year?
yeah, I did. And I failed for the first one. But then so you have a day off to sit, go to intern exam and then come back. And then everybody knows when the result actually released. And then the assistant said, how did you go? Like that. I said, I passed, but I didn't. Yeah, but I didn't. And then after the intern exam, I really didn't want to breathe the same air with these people. And I actually thought the pharmacy was just I just couldn't imagine myself working in a pharmacy anymore at all. So I know I need to pass the exam, but I just didn't want to work in a pharmacy. Yeah. So I actually left the country and went back to Korea and did traveling other countries. And then, but then after that, at that time, PSA, where I did my intern program, they helped me a lot. They keep telling me I need to work, I need to practice the counseling. And I just said, I know I need to, but how can I? I can't get a job. Yeah. So at that time, in 2015, the PSA Tasmania really helped me to find a job. And so I worked a part-time assistant in other pharmacy.
Yeah, great. So you skip forward for me so when did you end up resitting your intern exam and passing it?
So I failed the November 2014 exam, and then I sat again in June 2015, and then I passed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. So it sounds like the challenges that you had through what was meant to be your one and only intern year were absolutely harrowing. And as you said, you wouldn't wish that on anyone to have the same intern experience. And you mentioned at the time you were really timid. So what do you think helped you navigate those challenges at the time to get to the point of finishing your internship?
In 2014, I was a real mess. Every day I cry. And then I actually start practice how to say swear word. So I never used it. I never used it still. But I come home and then I write the dialogue. Today she said this, but I didn't say anything back to her. So I come home and cry. I was just so angry. So I just imagined what I would like to tell her, straight away. And then my English was quite slow. I wasn't speaking this fast, this speed. Mm-hmm. And then I wrote this dialogue, and then I speak out loud. And then I took that dialogue to my next door neighbor, elderly lady. And then I said, if I use the F word, where do I need to put in? She and her daughter-in-law helped me where to put the F word in that conversations. And then I bring it home. And then in my room, I just speak out loud and shout out loud. And then I do that over time, over and over by myself. And then actually that time, it was great because with that period, in that period, my English speed really improved. And then my English become more natural. Yeah. And then I didn't really mean to learn more English, but yeah, that's how it happened. And then my mom, I always think about my mom because my dad was really against of me going to overseas. He didn't want to support my school at all. But my mom really nearly, begged and then got me school fees. And so I need to, make my mom to be proud of me. Yeah, so I had to finish. I know there is no other way. I have to finish this.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's lots of internal strength that you had there, but it was a really interesting point that you said you went home and reflected on the situation that had been horrible, which, you'd be well and truly forgiven for thinking you want to put that in your backpack and never want to think about it again. But you pulled it out and you thought about it and you wrote what you would have liked your response to be, and whether that was politically correct or not, it doesn't really matter. It was about finding, I guess, assertive language that would build up your confidence, and that had to be done in private. So did you ever get to the point of being able to talk more assertively?
Yes. I think it was like 2 weeks before my ending day. So my ending day was already set. So it's 1824 hours. And then that's the finish time. So I knew it was, in my memory, it could have been 3rd December. It must be Friday, 3:00. Yeah.
Wow.
The date was right, but Friday, 3:00. It was, that was the time I finished. And then 2 weeks before, and I was doing the methadone, preparation at the bench in the dispensary. And then my little, about this big wallet was at the corner of the methadone bench because we in the pharmacy, we had doctors coming and using counseling room. And then that's always my lunchtime, so I can't get to my locker. So my, wallet was outside like that. Anyway, I method, when I had to solve the methadone person and then come in, and then this big, huge yellow handbag was on the top of my bench. It was assistant, bag. And then, what's this? Anyway, I just put that into the, stool there. And then I did, preparing another methadone, and then went to the patient and then solved it and come back. And then this bag was on top again. And then I just thought, I can't do anything with this bag on this one. So I just put it back. And then I asked him. And then I just did one more time. And then this bag was on top again. So it's 3 times. I have this number 3. I always do everything 3 times. And then that's my limit. Yeah, so I asked her, what's your reason your bag have to be on my methadone bench? And then she said, your wallet is on the bench, so is my bag. And then I just said, so is there any other reason besides my wallet? And then she said, no, just your wallet's there, so my bag has to be there. And then, anyway, I actually don't know what it was, but in my brain, there was a little line there, and then I can feel it's like a ting, like that, that's it's linked. And then I just picked the bag. I wasn't this character at all. And then so I picked the bag, and then I smashed it onto the ground. And then I just said, I don't know how it sounds, but I treated everybody with respect all along. But I just said to her, okay, I don't want to say this, but intern's wallet on the bench, your bag on the ground. I gave you enough chance to move your bag to your locker, but you chose this way, and then I'm choosing this way. Anyway, she just looking at the pharmacist, and pharmacist there to listen all. He was listening. This is a different pharmacist. This is just my last preceptor. Yeah. And then he was listening all, but didn't do anything. But then suddenly this assistant said, calling his name, oh, did you see this? And then she started crying. And then this pharmacist walked towards me, Ilwoo, and I just said, no, you haven't said one word every time, single time when I was in bad situation. Don't say one word today. Keep the fairness. I'm going on lunch. So I just picked my wallet. I went out for lunch. And then while I'm, having my lunch for 30 minutes, my heart was racing. Oh my God, what did I do? And then I was just so nervous and then so scared. And then half an hour later, when I went back to pharmacy, and nobody said anything. Everybody doing their work. And so until then, when I'm in the dispensary, when I get the basket, this assistant always throw a basket at me. And then from that afternoon, this assistant actually not throwing basket at me. Yeah. Wow. And then I actually felt very funny. And then nobody said anything until 5:30 when we finish. And I go home. And I just really cried a lot. I cried really a lot that night. Why didn't I do this earlier?
Wow. So I'm curious, what do you think happened in that moment in the relationship between you and this pharmacy assistant? What do you think changed?
I think she understood maybe I'm not being silent anymore.
Yeah.
I can actually use, I don't know. I don't actually know what happened. Just about few months back, like maybe 1 month or 2 months before that happening, I keep thinking, why do I have to keep other people's emotion when I cannot look after my emotion? You know? And then
Yeah.
I need to say something to her, but I'm scared of I'm hurting her emotion. But then, does she ever think about my emotion? No, I don't think she does. And then if I say nothing, and she think it's I'm hurting my emotion by myself because I'm not doing anything. And so I keep thinking about this thing. And then at the time, I don't know, I didn't really think in depth. Just I was that angry, but then I just couldn't stop, couldn't hold my anger anymore. Yeah.
It's interesting that you say that because I'm a global DISC practitioner, and we talk about the 4 behavioural styles or the personality types in DISC, and the greater the gap in the way we communicate and we behave, the greater the friction there is. Right. And when there's friction, that can mean communication goes astray, or one particular person might be louder in the conversation than the other, and the other one's not heard or understood. And it sounds that you might have matched her intensity, not using the swear words, not being rude, but matched her level in communicated in a way that maybe she understood as well, and increased the level of respect that she had in that moment too.
Actually, I think what you're saying is really right. I had another experience when I moved the pharmacy when I become a pharmacist. But when you actually return the impact they gave me, then they change their attitude.
It sounds like through your intern experience that starting off timid, internally practicing, different ways to be able to communicate, and then finally getting the confidence to be able to articulate what you really wanted to say at times. So skip forward and tell me what you're doing now.
I'm a pharmacist in Oatlands, Tasmania. And then I've been there for 5.5 years now. And then, I just got my partnership from this year.
Wow. So from a timid person who didn't really know that she wanted to be a pharmacist but just had to choose something, to the horrible intern experience, to now being a partner in a pharmacy, in a rural pharmacy. Fantastic. So what lessons do you think you've learnt along the way that hold you in good stead now?
There's not a bad experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not a bad experience. Tell me more about that.
I thought that there was just a horrible experience when I did my intern, and I never ever do this. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible. I couldn't find any other word, any positiveness there. But when I become pharmacist and then when I got a job, and I was the youngest pharmacist over 5 pharmacists. It was a big pharmacy. And then I was very, smiley. I am smiley. Yeah, so these assistants who there for, more than 10 years, they just obviously, I'm younger. I'm younger, less experienced. So I'd like to have a bit of a power game. And I want to get on well, but I want to do my pharmacist job. And then, I think there are specialty what assistants do too. And then we need each other, respect. Anyway, so this one assistant, everybody was really good and respectful, but one assistant liked to do some power game. So she just keep giving me the basket like a bit of a straw. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, I just didn't say much, and then, but at third day maybe, and I just throw the basket back. Like so I did the dispensing, and then after the dispensed, and then I throw, but then she didn't catch it at the end of the bench, so it falls off the bench and then the basket and repeats everywhere. And then normally if I just do that, I just go in and help her pick it up, but I done it deliberately this time. Because, and then I just said, "Oh, sorry, I thought you like throwing things." Yeah. So anyway, but I think I got that learned from the other experience, and then over time, I kind of was thinking, I can be still smiley and chatty, but some things I need to be really assertive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a pick and choose. You can't be assertive all the time. You can't be serious all the time. So I don't have to change myself. I'm still chatty and laughing and, funny. But some things, if I think it's important, I need to go my way, and then I need to show people this is my way. And then I need to earn my respect. Yeah, so earning respect. I think people normally good, well-mannered people should respect naturally, but sometimes people don't do that. Then you don't request them to respect me. You need to earn their respect. And then I need to find my way to earn it. And then particularly with that assistant, I was really showing my competency with the customers and patients. I really, particularly front of that assistant, I just go through really thorough counseling. So I am pharmacist, I am not your younger sister. Yeah. I am pharmacist here. Yeah, so I really want her to see it and then feel it. Yeah, so I didn't treat her, badly. Just that was one episode, and then after that, I just try to earn my respect from her, and I just sometimes I call her, and then I just did the SS2, SS3, counseling, like a what's that? Yeah, helping her how to, improve herself as well. Yeah.
Yeah. And how did that improve the relationship? What was the outcome there in helping, in acting in a way and behaving in a way that earned her respect?
So firstly, after I said, I thought you like us, throw and catch. And then she just never throw the basket again. Yeah, that fixed that part. And then I don't want her to take it personally and then become nasty. So that's why I just helping her to improve her knowledge of S2 and S3. And then when she said, somebody wants to see pharmacist, then I just go in and I said, and then I particularly front of her act very professionally towards our customers. And then, and I think, we didn't have any issue. And then I really, when I left the pharmacy, I really liked her as much as the others.
That's great. That's great. So the challenges that you had through your internship and not really speaking up for a year and a half, the lesson was learnt to be able to, as you said, be more assertive in the situations where you really needed the assertive behaviour, and it took, I guess, a lot of pain out of the situation, or frustration, or confusion, misunderstanding. There's lots of words we could use there, that being able to communicate assertively minimised as well. And it sounds like you got a positive outcome with the relationship as well.
And then not only that, because I spent 6 months on the floor, I know what needs to be done. I know what how to do. So when they're really busy, then I just give them hand, there is no my job or your job. When jobs needs to be done, I can do it. I can be helpful. And then some junior assistant, I can teach them how to count to till more efficiently. And then this is apparently, I didn't know that, but apparently this is not other pharmacists don't do. Yeah, so many normal jobs, more just jobs in the pharmacy, I am actually better than other assistants. So I think that's another way of getting the respect. She's not only know bad what's in the textbook, she also knows just normal work.
Yeah. So walk and being able to, as you said, you like being nice to people. So jumping in and helping people is part of your DNA. So showing that in a way as well. So how have the lessons that you've had shaped how you lead others? Because I know this is another thing that you're really passionate about.
Just to be the model. Yeah.
Be the model.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, because I was very disappointed. And when I did my intern, so first thing I asked my preceptor, can you do some quiz with me? And then the preceptor said, my preceptor never done anything with me. Why should I do anything with you? He actually said this.
Yeah.
And then at the time, I just thought, if I become a pharmacist, I'll never become this preceptor like this man. So that's what I always think to myself when I come. I don't have an intern, but we can have sometimes a student. Then I just like to trying to be the preceptor I wish I could have. Yeah, I wish I had. Yeah. So
beautiful. We had Elise Apolloni on the podcast a while ago, and she used the phrase of being the change you wish to see. And that sounds like what you're trying to do as well.
Yeah, but I'm not human too, so I don't do that perfectly or everything 100%. Yeah, but I try. I try.
And that's all we can do. So if you had some advice for some pharmacists that were in a similar challenging situation to those that you've faced in the past, what would your advice be for them?
I always say there's not a bad experience. And then
it's not a bad experience.
And then also I always say is don't trying to blame everything else and not you. So when I did my intern, what I think was, how can I do anything here? Not wishing, I wish she doesn't talk to me like that. I wish my preceptor helped me better way. I didn't do that. I just, so leave those people as they are. I'm not going to change them. But for me, what can I do here?
That is incredibly powerful. So in emotional intelligence, we actually talk about that, we are not in control or responsible for other people's emotions, but what we are in control of is how we come to the situation as well. And that really demonstrates our authenticity. So it's being able to communicate, act and behave in a way that we can be heard by the other people. So asking what am I contributing to the situation and how can I positively influence it is a great one, because you're right, we can't change the people on the other end. Unfortunately, we can only change how we show up. That is fantastic advice. And if you were giving some advice to preceptors out there or intending preceptors, what advice would that be?
Please care.
Please care. Oh, how powerful. Two very, very powerful words. Please care. I'm doing rapid fire questions here, but the next question I had here, because this whole conversation and your story in itself is just
an absolute wealth of gold, because it really shows how someone who has had those challenging situations can navigate and learn. And as you said, learn from never having a bad experience and turning those into learning opportunities. So the next question on my list here is, in terms of frontline leadership, what do you think pharmacists or pharmacy needs right now?
If we talk about whole pharmacist, then we need to know we are pharmacists. So don't divide into like a, just all different branches. Yeah, we need to work together
Yes.
as a pharmacist in Australia.
Yeah.
And then for the pharmacy, just to do the basic, just to do basic well. So with my assistants, I always ask them, when they do SS2 and SS3 training, there are certain questions you need to ask. Don't think you are doing anything extra. You are trained. So apply what you learned. So in my pharmacy, it's a very religiously we ask all the questions if anybody buys anything. And then even toilet paper, when people bring to the counter, we say, is anything else you need? And then if somebody goes, yeah, just, like maybe not toilet paper, but just like a tissue, box of tissues. And then,
I get it.
A bit of my sniffing nose, lately. And then I'm driving in the car and, okay, would you like to try anything? And then, do you have anything? Then we can sell like a saline spray. It's not about only sales. It's just about the person's what they need. We need to ask what they need and then actually provide something, help them. Yeah, but often people not even doing the S2, S3 questioning or pharmacist. When I did in pharmacy in New Test, we said, talk to the person if it's a new medication, talk to the person about the medication, how it works and how to take it, and then what to watch out for, and then lifestyle advice. But then when I talk to people like that, people goes, oh God, no one talked to me like this. And then I can feel this person never had this metformin before, and then I can see he been out of pharmacy for twice, and now I'm doing the third repeat. And then I said, how do you do your blood sugar level? And then, do you know what's your blood sugar level? And then, nah. And then I said, what do you eat? And then things like that I do. What did you eat last night? And what kind of food do you eat? And they always said, never talk to me like this. And then I said, make sure you take this with the food. And then, oh, really? And then I said, do you have any diarrhea? And he goes, is that this one cause? Things like that.
Yeah. And you're right. It is the basics, but we do need to do these things well. And I do think it comes back to pharmacists having their own accountability and coming from that place of wanting to care and help people that really holds others accountable in doing that, as well as you are doing with your pharmacy assistants, because that does provide health outcomes and does provide health solutions for our patients as well. It doesn't need to be rocket science. It doesn't need to be hard. It needs to be simple and executable regularly as opposed to intermittently.
I don't worry about doing the extra, but I like to do basic correctly.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And it's the foundations, and it's where everything starts. So the last question I want to ask is, you're building a leader's toolbox, and I want to know, if you were building this toolbox, what is the one tool that you would put in for all the pharmacists out there?
Responsibility.
Oh, I really like that one.
Yeah.
That's a new one. We haven't had that one, and I do like it. Tell me more.
I think the experience, not bad experience, unpleasant experience I had was because the people didn't take their responsibility. So like preceptors didn't think this intern is not my responsibility. That's not my responsibility. How my assistant behaving is not my responsibility. That's why it happened. And then also like when I'm going through that things, I try not to blame other people. I want to take my own responsibility. How can I stop this? And what am I doing to provoke this? And, things like that. And then when you give out the medication to patients, it's part of your responsibility, this person's medication treatment going well or not. So once it goes out, I think it's as a pharmacist or what people and a pharmacy assistant who's helping to sale, it's our responsibility to this person taking correctly. And then a month or two later, follow-up question is my responsibility to ask that question as well. So, so I just think, being responsible for my own action and then what I am managing. Yeah, that's important.
Absolutely. One thing that I always like to ask my clients, which is a really challenging question sometimes, is what am I contributing to the problem? And it's kind of the inverse of what you're saying about responsibility. What am I choosing not to own, and what am I choosing not to do? So I think that's a beautiful and really powerful tool to add to the toolkit, being responsible for your own actions. And through this whole conversation, through some really harrowing experiences, even when you were timid and you didn't have the capacity to be assertive, you can see how that internal responsibility of how you were showing up for that situation really held you instead. And if you weren't responsible for that, you probably wouldn't have taken the actions to be able to gain the skills to be able to communicate assertively, learn from those challenging situations, and now be paying it forward and supporting our next generation of pharmacists, whether that is when you do have an intern or when your pharmacy students come along, and then also, of course, with your pharmacy assistants as well. So thank you so much for sharing your story so vulnerably today as well. It's not the prettiest story. It might be uncomfortable for some people, but it is really a living lesson of how leadership of self can help to steer the course through challenging times to brighter and more positive days. So thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
It has been truly a pleasure.
Thanks for joining us today on the Pharmacy View podcast. And don't forget to like, share, and leave us a comment if you found this episode of value or have feedback. Podcast episodes are promoted through social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, and major podcast mediums. And each episode can be found on the Pharmacy View webpage with links to guest contact and business details. If you're a pharmacist or industry support supplier who would like to join us on an episode, send us a message through LinkedIn or complete an inquiry form on the Pharmacy View webpage. I am your host, Chantelle Turner, pharmacist, leadership coach, and founder of Turn Pharmacy Leadership. And on behalf of Shopfront Solutions and Arion Technologies, thanks again for joining us today on the Pharmacy View podcast.